Elden Ring's sliders produce faces that are now burned into the backs of our eyelids and will haunt our nightmares evermore. And that got us thinking. We want more. Here's the weirdest character creators around in PC games.
Oh, yeah, I definitely made the right choice.
Hi and welcome to the channel, adventurers of all shapes, sizes and chaotic alignments. We love to flex our imagination muscles on a good character creation screen before we head out into a new fantasy world. But what we love even more than that are the games that coax us away from making the usual builds. You know, Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones, really in-shape, face-tattooed versions of ourselves. And into weird, fresh, slightly scary, true role-playing territory. There is a difference between playing through a game while looking like the character you made and actually playing it like that character. We've rounded up 10 games that are great at getting you to play that way, and let's be totally honest here, we're starting with Elden Ring and those wild customization sliders because we're a bit obsessed with them. If you're new here, consider customizing your personal YouTube by hitting the subscribe button and making us a part of your loadout. And dropping a thumbs up on this vid bestows a plus 10 good taste stat bonus on your next created character.
I advise that you better be a badass. We're here to slay evil and get gold.
Historically, From Software games have been much better at depicting things like massive spider girl snakes and haunted knights made from ash and bad dreams than they have just, a person. A person with a sword and some apprehension, aka the player character. Elden Ring puts that firmly to rights. The character creator's really powerful and granular here, and the results are all impressively detailed. But come on, once you've seen how far you can break the game by pushing the sliders to the extreme, well, you've just got to go all in, haven't you? If you've ever wanted to be a hero whose face is literally just a nose, someone whose jawline goes beyond even Giga Chad levels, or as a dream you once had after eating lots of expired cheese, your day has finally come. You go get them, Ribena Smurf Samurai thing.
Tarnished, are we? Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring? Of course you have. No shame in it.
Next comes a rare non-RPG entry in the form of Calibur VI and its bizarrely detailed character creator. It's not something we always expect of fighting games, but following in WWE 2K's grand tradition, Calibur VI goes absolutely weapons-free in the customization screens. Every aspect of your fighter's physical form, stance, dress, and weapons can be tweaked and tweaked until you've been staring at the screen for hours and the thing in front of you doesn't even really look like a game character anymore. And as for the oddness factor, the best thing about this one is that it's actually really difficult to make something that isn't troublingly strange. I mean, just look at this one. What have we even made here, and why?
I am beautiful.
If nothing else, it gives you a better appreciation for professional fighting game character designers over the years. Yeah, they don't all turn out to be reused, do they?
Don't be hard on yourself.
Like its ancient ancestor Planescape Torment, 2018's Torment Tides of Numenera is so dedicated to being offbeat that in tens of hours of isometric RPGing, you don't slay a single dragon, pick up any enchanted pauldrons, or meet even one person named Godfric. You get a sense of that imagination right from the earliest moments in the character creator, which begins with a pretty vivid written description of the dawning of your consciousness.
The memories project themselves in your mind, a story told to you as if they happened to someone else. Yet it was your body that walked those halls, your lungs that breathed that air.
It's like being born into the world, very literally, one mind-bending line of exposition at a time, and unfortunately for you, it's all happening just as you're plummeting back down to earth from a great height and about to die again. As you pull together strands of memories and cogent thoughts, your character starts to form. The choices you make in the first few situations start to build a class and some skills, eventually creating a fleshed out character that you can tweak before committing through the rest of the game. Weird, wonderful, and even a little bit beautiful.
Where did she fall from? Her body's smashed to talk. It's a wonder she's still breathing.
When you're handed the reins and let loose on creating V, the protagonist of Cyberpunk 2077, you're not just manipulating sliders and choosing which face tattoos look the edgiest. Obviously you are doing that, quite a lot of that actually, but you're also learning tons about the world itself.
Hey V, you alive? How's things in the Viper Pit?
Just by going through all the possible options that might make your V, you're getting an insight into Night City. Fashion, after all, is a reaction to the world around it, and you can tell that the pace of technological change here has had a dramatic effect on everyone. Not all of it for the better.
This one's packing black market Zeta Tech repros. Typical back alley fix-ups. Not our lucky gal.
You end up with someone who looks different to most other players, but also someone who'd look out of place anywhere but in this setting. Except perhaps a mumble rap video. You've embodied this whole cyberpunk thing, and you didn't even have to hack anything or shoot anyone yet.
You peruse and choose while I scan. See what's going on inside.
Wildermyth is a procedural storytelling RPG, which basically means that you wind it up with info and variables and then let it spin you a yarn that lasts for generations. Like an algorithmic Tolstoy. The character creator's especially important here then, since it's the starting point the game uses to go off on one. You're picking not just what your character looks like, but also how open they are to random relationships and having children, things that you'd ordinarily save until after the first date to ask. Combined with their personality traits, these variables give Wildermyth enough to work on like an improv group, taking the story in wild directional swings and building surprisingly involving sagas from just a few details. We're back in the realms of isometric RPGs now, but with good reason. Disco Elysium takes you and the concept of character creation, brings you both out on a wild night out, loosens you up with some cocktails and wild philosophical conversation, lowers your inhibition, raises your oneness with the universe, and then you wake up with a hangover, a classic case of video game player character memory loss, and a sad sack of meat that you're instantly ashamed and disappointed to call your avatar. Which is the whole point, really, because in this game you're not the square-jawed, lawful good hero, but instead an alcoholic detective who's just as likely to go into cardiac arrest getting his own tie down from the ceiling fan as he is to solve a case. Savor is every line of exposition. This is as good as it gets.
Right now I know that you're worried. Don't be worried. Everything's going to be all right.
If you thought Mark Zuckerberg was trying to get you into the metaverse, consider this. In Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, you play as a fictional character created by another fictional character called Valentine, who's playing a tabletop game called Bunkers and Badasses, organised by Tiny Tina, who is, of course, herself also a fictional character within the world of Borderlands.
We're playing Bunkers and Badasses, baby! And I, Tiny Tina, am the Bunker Master, so what I say goes!
Forget how many sliders there are or how odd you can make the faces look. We've just gone tumbling down the rabbit hole, through the looking glass and into levels of theoretical metaphysics that are frankly beyond the usual remit of a YouTube Games listicle. However, the sliders are pretty good and the classes are incredible fun. This Spore Warden can deal damage with an astral bow, a mushroom companion, a gun, a sword and a spell all at the same time. And we think that speaks for itself.
Prepare to enter a world of fantasy!
I don't see anything.
You gotta imagine it, knucklehead.
Just close your eyes and wonder.
2D RPGs with old school visuals like Death Road to Canada don't usually give you much in the way of character tweaking. You're lucky if you can even discern your big-haired avatar from the ranks of incredibly similar characters most of the time. But this isn't your dad's RPG. It's as much a procedural storytelling sim like Wildermyth as anything else, and the function to let you create up to 500 characters is pretty unique in itself. Not only can you build a very detailed you can also make all your friends, family, schoolmates, former bosses, old teachers, and favourite babysitters, and then watch as they turn up at various points in the story, often meeting very grisly ends. In fact, let's revise that. Probably don't create anyone who you wouldn't be comfortable watching getting eaten by zombies. Probably should have started off with that point. So, So we've set our sliders to maximum face, ticked only the most offbeat personality traits, and shown you some of our favourite character creation sequences ever. Right, we're off to work on our Eric Andre build in Elden Ring now, but thanks for stopping by to watch. Hit the subscribe button to hear more from us as soon as we drop it, leave us a like if you want our Soul Calibur 6 characters to become part of the official roster, and we'll see you next time.